Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the world of AI image generation, specifically some cutting-edge research that's making waves.
Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff.
So, we're going to be looking at a paper that introduces a new technique, but I think before we get into the nitty-gritty,
Okay.
it might be helpful to understand a key component called the image tokenizer, which sounds pretty technical.
Right. So basically imagine you want to teach a computer how to understand a picture, right? You can't just
Hmm.
show it the whole thing at once. You need to break it down into smaller, like manageable pieces that the AI can process. And that's where the image tokenizer comes in. It's like translating a picture into a language that the AI can grasp?
So it's taking something visual and turning it into, like, a set of instructions the AI can work with.
Exactly. And just like there are different ways to describe, say, a landscape, like you could talk about the colors or the shapes or the overall mood, there are different ways to tokenize an image, too. The traditional approach used a 2D grid, which is kind of like dividing the image into pixels, like those old video
Oh,
games.
yeah, I remember those.
Right. But the problem is that's not very efficient. You end up with a lot of redundant information, like neighboring pixels being very similar. It's like reading a book where every other word is repeated. It gets kind of boring.
Yeah, for sure. So how does this new research address that issue? What's the more efficient approach?
That's where 1D tokenizers come in. Instead of a grid, they represent the image as a sequence, like a string of code. It's much more compact and flexible.
Ah, okay. So there's this earlier version called
Yeah.
TikTok.
To talk, yeah.
But this paper introduces TA TikTok. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. So T-TikTok stands for Text-Aware Transformer-Based One-Dimensional Tokenizer. It's a mouthful, I know. But it basically builds on that 1D approach and takes it to the next level.
Okay. So what makes it so special? What are the big improvements?
Well, there are three key advantages. First, it streamlines the training process. You see, TikTok used a two-stage process, but TA-TikTok simplifies it to just one stage. That makes it way faster and easier to train on huge data sets, which is essential for AI image generation, right?
So it's like a more efficient learning process for the AI.
Exactly. The second advantage is that it uses continuous tokens instead of discrete ones. It's kind of like, think of discrete tokens as having a box of crayons with a limited set of colors. You're stuck with those colors. But continuous tokens are more like having a paint palette with an infinite spectrum of colors.
Ah, that's a great analogy. So more flexibility and nuance in representing the image.
Exactly. And then the third big change, and this is really clever, is how TA-TikTok integrates text information directly into the process.
Oh, wow. So it's not just recreating the image from the code.
Mm,
It's actually taking into account the words you use to describe what you want.
exactly. It uses something called CLIP embeddings. Think of them like a translator. So you give the AI a text prompt, and these CLIP embeddings convert those words into a language the AI can understand.
That's incredible. So if I tell it I want a picture of a cat wearing a top hat riding a unicycle, it's using those CLIP embeddings to understand each element and make sure they all show up in the final image.
Yeah, it's like the AI is looking at the image through the lens of your words, so the output is much more aligned with what you imagined.
I see. So this brings us to MaskGen. Is that a new type of AI art program?
It is. It's a family of models built on this amazing TA TikTok foundation. And here's the best part. It's open source.
Oh, wow. So anyone can use this.
Yeah.
What are the implications of that?
It's huge. It could be a real game changer for the field. It encourages collaboration and could lead to all sorts of new applications that we haven't even thought of yet.
That's exciting. But let's get into the details of MaskGen itself. How does it work, and what makes it stand out from other AI art programs out there?
Sure. One thing that makes MaskGen impressive is that it uses the CLIP text encoder, which is known for being very efficient. Other models use much heavier encoders that require tons of computing power. But MaskGen can do it without all that, making it more accessible to a wider audience.
So you're saying someone with a regular computer could potentially use MaskGen to create incredible AI-generated art.
Yeah, potentially. That's the beauty of it. And it's versatile, too. It can work with both discrete A&D continuous tokens, giving developers more flexibility in how they approach things. They've also included something called aesthetic score as a control, allowing users to adjust the quality and style of the output.
So you can go for that photorealistic look or something more stylized and artistic, all within the same model.
Exactly. And you want to know the best part.
Okay, what's that?
Even though it's trained entirely on open data, MaskGen's results are comparable to, and sometimes even better than, models trained on private data.
Seriously. That's amazing. So we're talking about an open source model that can compete with the big players in the AI art world. What about specific examples of how it stacks up? What kind of metrics are we looking at here?
Well, there's a metric called FID score, which measures image quality, and MaskGen scores are right up there with top models like SDXL. It's a big deal, especially considering it's trained on freely available data.
So not only is it more accessible, but the quality is top-notch as well. What about speed? You mentioned earlier that it's more efficient. How does that translate to actual performance?
Well, remember how TA TikTok streamlines the training?
Yeah.
That efficiency carries over to MaskGen. It's much faster at both training and image generation compared to other models, which means you don't have to wait around as long for results.
That's fantastic. So it's fast, it's efficient, it's open source, and it produces high-quality results. It sounds like this could really democratize AI image generation.
I think so. It puts this powerful technology within reach of so many more people, which could lead to a huge creative explosion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But every technology has its limitations. So
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges the developers are still facing, and what can we expect from MaskGen in the future?
Well, one limitation right now is scaling up the KL variant, which is a specific version of the model. Scaling it up could potentially lead to even better image quality, but it also increases training time. So it's like we're always pushing for that higher quality, but there are trade-offs to consider.
Right, it's always about finding that balance.
Yeah.
What else is on the roadmap for MaskGen? What are the developers looking to tackle next?
Well, another current limitation is resolution. Right now, MaskGen is capped at 256 by 256 pixels.
I see.
It's decent for a lot of things, but think about, like, the possibilities if we could get even larger, more detailed images. That's definitely a goal for the future.
Yeah, higher resolution would unlock so much potential for detail and complexity. It's amazing to think about. And it seems like AI is always advancing at such a rapid pace. What are the researchers focusing on to achieve those next breakthroughs?
Well, they've outlined three key areas for future work. First, they're trying to optimize convergence speed. Basically, how to make the training process even faster.
So getting those results even quicker.
Exactly. And then they're exploring how to scale the model up so it can handle even bigger data sets and more complex tasks.
That makes sense.
And of course, they're working on cracking that code for those high-resolution outputs.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what MaskGen can do. And with it being open source, who knows what amazing innovations will come from people experimenting with it.
Oh, I know. It's so exciting to think about. And it's not just about the technical stuff, but the impact this could have, like empowering a whole new generation of creators.
Yeah. Artists, designers, educators, scientists, they could all use MaskGen to find new forms of expression, solve problems in new ways. It's really inspiring to think about the ripple effects across different fields.
We're already seeing AI making a big splash in things like entertainment, education, research, and open source tools like MaskGen have the potential to supercharge that transformation.
It's like this reminder that even though we're diving deep into the tech, it's the human side of things that really makes it meaningful. It's not just about the code itself, but what people can do with it.
Well said. And that actually brings up an important question for you, our listener. What creative possibilities do you see in this open source approach? How could this tech impact your field or interests in the future?
We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to the research paper, examples of MaskGen's work, and some resources if you want to learn more.
And as always, keep exploring. Stay tuned for our next deep dive into something totally different. Don't forget to subscribe and share the show with your friends.
You know, it's interesting. We talk a lot about AI learning, but in a way, MaskGen is flipping that on its head, right? It's not just the AI learning from US. We're learning from the AI too.
That's a great point. It's like by making these models more transparent and accessible, MaskGen helps us understand how that AI creativity actually works. It takes away some of the mystery and lets us engage with it on a deeper level.
Yeah, it's like getting a peek behind the curtain in a magic show.
Yeah.
But instead of rooting the magic, it makes it even more amazing because you start to grasp the skill and ingenuity involved.
Exactly. You appreciate the elegance of how it's all put together, while being blown away by what it creates. And by understanding it better, we can ask more informed questions about the technology itself and how it might impact society.
Which is so important. As AI gets more powerful and is used in more places, we need to have these conversations about how to use it responsibly and ethically. And open source tools like MaskGen, by being so transparent and collaborative, can play a key role in that.
Absolutely. It lets a wider range of voices contribute to the discussion, making sure AI development reflects diverse perspectives.
It's a reminder that AI isn't this abstract force operating in a vacuum, right? It's a technology shaped by human choices,
Mhm.
and its future depends on how we decide to use it.
And with things like MaskGen paving the way for more open and inclusive AI development, I'm optimistic. I think we can harness AI's potential for good while navigating its complexities thoughtfully.
Yeah, I feel that optimism too. So to wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with this. If AI can learn to create, what can WE learn from its creations? What new perspectives, insights, or even art movements might come from this fusion of human and artificial intelligence?
It's a thought-provoking question to consider as we head into this uncharted territory. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and most importantly, stay curious.
Until next time, happy diving. It makes you think, right? Like AI is really pushing the boundaries of what we even consider creative.
It really is. And one of the things I find so fascinating about AI image generation is that it can help us explore new ideas, new aesthetics, things we might not have been able to even imagine on our own. It's like having this creative partner that's constantly challenging our assumptions and pushing us outside our comfort zones.
You know, it's funny because we often talk about AI being like this super intelligent thing, but sometimes I wonder if it's not more like a mirror, right? Reflecting back our own creativity in these unexpected ways.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. AI models like MaskGen, they learn from all this data we feed them, paintings, photographs, digital art, even text descriptions. So in a way, they're processing and reinterpreting the entire collective creative output of humanity.
So it's like they're taking all these different artistic styles, all these ideas, and kind of like blending them together in new and unexpected ways. It makes me wonder, like, what happens as AI image generation gets even more sophisticated and even more accessible? Are we going to see whole new art movements emerge? Will artists start collaborating with AI to create works that blur the lines between human and machine creativity?
Those are such great questions. And honestly, I think we're still figuring out the answers. But the exciting part is that with tools like MaskGen being open source, we can all be part of that exploration. We can experiment, we can see what these models can do, and we can discover new creative possibilities together.
It's like we're stepping into this new era of artistic exploration, where the tools themselves are constantly evolving.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the tech, right? It's about the human stories, the emotions, the ideas that we can express through it.
Exactly. It's about tapping into that power of imagination and using these tools to share our unique perspectives with the world. It's a new way of telling stories, exploring concepts, and connecting with each other creatively.
It's like we're adding a whole new set of colors to the palette of human expression. I can't wait to see what people create with them. So, to wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with this thought. What creative spark does this technology ignite in you? What would you create if you had the power to turn words into images?
Take some time to explore the links in our show notes, play around with some of these AI tools, and see where your imagination takes you. We'd love to hear about your creative journeys.
And remember, the future of AI image generation isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're all creating together. So stay curious, keep exploring, and let's see what amazing things we can achieve when human creativity meets artificial intelligence.
Until next time, happy diving.